Let me describe a moment you've probably had today.
You didn't open your phone because you were bored. You opened it because something just ended. A task, a thought, a moment. And your brain didn't like the silence that came after. Most people don't notice this. They unlock their phone, scroll for a few seconds, then put it down. Sometimes they even think, "Why did I do that?" The usual explanation is distraction, or addiction, or lack of focus. But that explanation misses what's really happening. This video isn't about quitting your phone. It's not about discipline or productivity. It's about understanding what your mind is actually doing in those small, quiet moments, and why this habit makes sense once you understand the psychology behind it. You don't usually open your phone when you're bored. You open it during transitions, right after finishing something, right before starting something else, in between moments, after sending an email, after standing up from your chair, after a conversation ends, before deciding what to do next. These moments are small, almost invisible, but psychologically they matter, because when external demands drop, your attention turns inward, and that's when the discomfort appears. When things go quiet, a part of your brain becomes active. Psychologists call it the default mode network. You don't need to remember the name. You just need to know what it does. This part of your mind replays conversations, reviews mistakes, worries about what's next, brings up unfinished thoughts, connects things you haven't consciously processed yet. It's the background processing system of the mind. And when a task ends, this system turns on automatically. That's not a flaw. That's how the brain integrates experience. Here's the key point. Your phone isn't what you're looking for. Your phone is what interrupts this process. Think of it like this. Your mind opens a door. Behind it are unfinished thoughts, mild anxiety, emotional residue, or uncertainty. Your phone is a curtain you pull across that door, not because what's behind it is dangerous, but because you were never taught how to stay with it. So your brain reaches for the fastest exit. That exit just happens to be in your pocket. This isn't about pleasure, it's about relief. This behavior doesn't only show up when life is hard. It often appears when you're mentally tired, emotionally loaded, switching roles, making decisions, processing subtle stress. Even positive things leave residue. A productive work session, a meaningful conversation, a decision you cared about. Your nervous system needs time to settle after these moments. Phones don't calm you, they pause you. They delay integration. This isn't a personal weakness, it's a modern environment problem. We live in a world where stimulation is constant, silence is rare, attention is always pulled outward. So when there's a gap, even a few seconds, your nervous system doesn't read it as rest, it reads it as something missing. That's why silence feels uncomfortable now, not because it's empty, but because it's unfamiliar. This isn't about lost productivity. The deeper cost is quieter. When every pause is filled, emotions don't fully process, thoughts don't finish forming, insight doesn't surface. Clarity often arrives after stillness, but stillness keeps getting interrupted. Over time, this creates mental fog, low-level restlessness, the feeling that you can't think deeply anymore. Not because your mind is broken, but because it's never allowed to settle. This isn't about self-control, it's about awareness. Before unlocking your phone, ask quietly, what just ended? A task? A thought? An emotion? Often the urge makes sense once you name the moment. You don't need to resist the urge, just pause. 10 seconds. Let whatever rises, rise. Most urges peak and fade quickly because they were never about the phone. If your brain wants relief, give it a gentler option. One deep breath, a stretch, writing one sentence. This teaches your nervous system another choice, not control, choice. If this habit feels constant or compulsive, it may be connected to chronic stress, anxiety, ADHD, or emotional overload. In those cases, the phone isn't the problem. It's the coping tool. Be curious, not harsh. Understanding comes before change. I want to say this clearly. Opening your phone without knowing why does not mean you're weak. It does not mean you lack discipline. It does not mean something is wrong with you. It means your mind is trying to regulate itself in a loud world. That's human. When you understand the need underneath the habit starts to soften. Not instantly, but naturally. Let's bring this together. You don't reach for your phone because you're addicted. You reach for it because something ended. Your brain turned inward, and you weren't taught how to stay there. Your phone didn't create the urge, it answered it. And when you start listening to the question behind the behavior, something changes. The next time your hand reaches for your phone, just notice. There's information there. You're not distracted, you're responding. And that awareness is where things begin.